What's up, everyone? It is November 26, 2025. It's Wednesday. It's about 7:20 in the evening. I figured I would jump on here to do a quick update before the holiday, right? So I wanted to jump in here because we had some pretty nice moves going on. So first, we left off in this section right over here, okay? So let's take a close look at what's been going on. This has been quite an interesting little block. So as we zoom in here, you can see this looks pretty gross. It basically just struggled in this area, which is okay. This is absolutely okay. It moved up and it started to struggle over here, and now in the evening, right before the market closed, we got a pop-up. Probably about, I think it was around 3 o'clock or so, maybe a little bit later than 3 o'clock. So just before the market was going to close, we started to pop up, and this is where we are right now. So we were talking about possibly moving up into this section right over here, right, for this break of structure to come over here and try to test this. And that's where it looks like we're going, which is good. And again, you know, if you watched the last video that I posted, one thing that I was saying was that this section over here, which I was talking about, a break of structure, it came above and then it broke through, it tested the top. This is actually it looks like a mirror image of that. We've got our first break structure. Now, one thing that we didn't do was we haven't grabbed onto this section. We haven't tapped it, but we are still moving up. And that's a good thing, right? So what I am looking for is I am looking for this to come over here. Now, a lot of people think that because we took such a large hit that we're just going to continue straight down this vortex of dropping through. But, you know, there is a big difference between the chart telling you what it's going to do and people telling you what it's going to do. So one thing that I want to, you know, stress is that your environment, no matter what, and I'm talking in the real world, you know, in the charts and everything like that, your environment influences your decisions. Okay. So as much as you think that, you know, sometimes you're doing things and, you know, it's your own decision, sometimes somebody else is placing those seeds in your head. So I don't really like to play this game of, you know, bear market, bull market kind of scenario, because all of this stuff in these charts is data. That's what it is. It's complete data. And that's exactly why I use the colors in the candles that I use. Because if I use green, then my energy, my mindset is that I am going to like get excited by the fact that there's green money there. We're going up. And if it's red, it kind of creates danger. This gives you an alert right here, and this gives you a signal of, you know, it's just the color tones that really kind of adjust your environment. So what's important is that while you're, you know, deciding to trade and get into these charts, that you really focus on your environment, right? And that's why I really do concentrate on the candles. That's why I don't use any indicators. That's why I don't look at news, because everything here, like, I am involved in this environment. And in this environment, it says that when we have a hard drop, there will be some kind of relief. And that's what it looks like we're experiencing right over here. Now, of course, some people want it to go lower, and, you know, it just very well might go lower. We don't know, honestly, but I do know this, is that in the past, whenever you see something, you know, you can actually see a reaction to it and really kind of make the determination yourself by really looking at these charts. The other thing that I would like to kind of put out there is that, you know, most of the decisions that you make, like the bad decisions that you make in the market, or I'm sorry, let me phrase this again. Most of the bad decisions that you make is what you project into the market from your life. Okay? FOMO, you know, fear and greed, all of that stuff, you know, it all plays a role. Like your mental state, your vision can really be distilled by how you live and your environment. So what's important and why I bring that up is because these charts really tell you what is going on in the past and what can go on in the future. And you don't really need a guru for that. You don't. You just need time in these charts, right? And there are some things that you can learn that are basic, very basic, that I've shown, like a trend line, for example, and ranges. All of this stuff, I am not looking for you to sign up for my course. I'm not looking for you guys to really do anything. I mean, what I would truly like is if you like and subscribe, because it just shows me that you're there, right? That's the only thing that I'm interested in. But on the other hand, this is my trading journal as well. And these are my thoughts. And before I even look at anything else that's going on in the government, in the news, and economy, and anything like that, I make sure that I look at these charts first and get a real idea as to what my bias might be. Now, the other thing that I wanted to put out there is this. If I'm going to short over in this area, which I said I would, right? I said I would long in this area and I would short in this area. Now, I want to be straight with you. Just because I'm looking to short in this area does not mean that I'm bearish by any means. And if I long in this area, it does not mean that I am bullish on these charts. What I look for in these charts are just a certain percent move because I'm looking to exploit that. Now, if your expectation is that we're going to get over here and then we're going to rise to this in one candle, well, that's a little bit of a fantasy. Instead, what I look for is I look for these moves, these little pops, where it'll go to a certain area, move up maybe about 2%, and I will take profit here, and I will be satisfied. I will call it a day, okay? I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I don't need to, brag about anything. The idea of these charts is that you are in this market to tap in and tap out, to learn. This is a market that will forever be open. Right? Jobs may come, jobs may go, but these markets are here. And it's kind of like fishing. If you learn how to fish, then you won't go hungry. I'm sure you've heard that phrase. If you haven't, learning how to fish. If you learn how to fish, then you won't go hungry. If you learn how to trade, on the other hand, then there's an area for you to have some kind of income. And especially if you can start getting the eyes in this chart. Okay, so I wanted to make this very clear. I do not look to hold these things forever. If I am going to long over here, and if I catch a long and it moves up here, I am taking profit along the way, all the way up. And when I'm basically tapped out of my profit, I look for another long to get into. And that's how I do it. Because the truth is that if you were in an elevator, and I used this analogy before, and you rode the elevator, you got on in the first floor, and you went up to the top, and you went down to the bottom, and you went down up to the top, you went down to the bottom, and you got out right over here after you've gone up here maybe about, let's say that you went up like 4 times, right? Let's say you went to the top of the building 4 times, but you never got out of the elevator. Well, then you didn't really go to the top. All you did was waste your time, because this is where you were. You had no ground space at all. Nothing. So therefore, this means nothing. It just means you wasted your time. On the other hand, what I do is I try my best to get off of this elevator without the expectation of going anywhere else. So if I ride this up to only the 4th floor, right? I'm only on the 4th floor. I will get out and I will walk all the way back down to the bottom, and I will ride it back up. And if I get down to the 10th floor, I will get off on the 10th floor and I will come back down to the bottom, because now I've experienced this, but also, my body wasn't just stuck in one place. I got to exercise, I got some momentum, I actually walked places, I got to see and experience. So I really look at trading like it's a building with an elevator that you can get on and get off. Now, just because I longed in this section or I shorted in this section doesn't mean I'm going to hold to here. Okay, there's like this crazy analogy that I heard a long time ago. There's this road from California, right? From California. I think it's like Route 66 or something. I don't know what it is. And I think it goes to like, I don't know. Anyway, it's Route 66, right? Let's just call that it's Route 66. If you were to see a car from the top going from point A to where it ends, which I think is like Las Vegas. I don't know. Let's just say it's Las Vegas for now. Vegas, right? This analogy has a point. Hold on a second. So this road goes from Cali to Las Vegas. We're going to call that Route 66, right? My story could be wrong. But you are standing right over here. This is where you are. Hey, everybody. Hey, hi. You're like, hey, everybody, right? And you see this car coming down the road, right? And you can't assume that the start of this car was over in California. Just because it's on this road doesn't mean it started in California. It actually might have got on the road on the exit before. it actually might have got on the road 500 feet from where you're watching. So there are other variables and there are other things that play a role in your perception. Just because you know that something starts here and ends here doesn't mean that there's an in-between. There is an in-between. There's always an in-between. So when I look at these charts here, I look at them where there are moments of in-between, right? Where I can get on and get off. And this is it. Now, I will say this. It's taken me a long time to really break that idea of longing and shorting, having a bias. But when you look at exactly what the word trader means, it doesn't mean one direction. And it also means that there's no like real loyalty, I guess. You know, if someone's considered a trader, 1 minute they're in your face and the next minute they turn around. I make no exceptions in these charts. If I feel that, you know, the long is just not going to work out, I will close my long and take a short. I will do that, but I won't do that on a whim. I always make a plan. So there's always a plan where if I'm in a short and it's not working out, I will close my short. And then I will adjust my bias from there because I am not one directional. This is not about like gloating. I don't really care. I don't really care to gloat about where I got a long and where I got a short. I don't care to gloat about that. Instead, I care to document that. The reason why is because I'm always looking to get better. Now, I will say this, you know, looking at this chart here, what I have is I have traded this whole range, not only this range over here, but this range, I traded this pretty spot on. What I didn't do was this trade going down here was too much. It actually threw me off and I took a loss there. But the majority of my wins, I have about a 90% win rate, between 80 and 90% win rate. And that's because I don't have my expectations super high to what I'm going to gain. If I find that there's an opportunity to make a gain, I'll take it and I'll be satisfied. And that's the difference between being greedy and being smart. So now that I've said all of that nonsense, right? I wanted to give you an update as to what's going on in these charts. This move right here was a pretty good, significant move for Bitcoin. But not only that, if you were to go look at the S&P 500, last we left off, we were down a little bit lower on the scale there. And I was saying that I was looking for it to move up and start this range bouncing thing that's going on. And it did. This is a pretty good move up that it's taken. And last minute, you know, Bitcoin decided to follow, and Ethereum as well. Ethereum is following, you know, the same road. If you go look at the dominance chart, Ethereum has poked up and Bitcoin is still stuck in this channel. Now, I will say this. I am feeling a lot more positive about this chart getting some strength and reversing this big move. It's starting to feel to me, and it's not because of this section right here, but it is feeling to me like these alts, looking at all of these alts that we have, a lot of them are really at dust level, you know? They've dropped so significantly. And one of the things that I've pointed out was about this wick that's here, saying that this wick needs to be filled out. And as I start clicking through all of these charts, you know, one by one, just quickly perusing, you know, each one of these, I mean, yeah, these charts are starting to look like they've taken such a hit that a bounce might be coming, you know, and the bounce might actually surprise a lot of people. Now, I don't know if that's truly going to happen, but I've seen these patterns before. I've seen these patterns. You see this pattern here? There's liquidity here, 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 here. And I've seen charts that look just like this that are going down, spike up, and really take out the top. And if I were to measure what those moves are, you know, they're nothing to, you know, squint about, you know. Actually, this is I'm on the wrong chart, but it has the pattern that I'm talking about. If you look over here, this is like a complete downtrend that's going like so. And there's so much built here that if we do poke up, it could possibly poke up 300%, you know, a 3x from here. And that to me is a significant move. Now, I know some of you guys have bought the top and you are completely underwater. I get that part of it. But this area is a much better area to swing at DCAing in and recover some of that, some of that stuff that you've lost. Only on the charts that are really worth getting into, But I'm starting to feel like, yeah, alt season might be around the corner. If Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially Ethereum's been showing a lot of strength lately, Like this move here is, it's a pretty nice move. Look at this. This is a 15% move. This move right here on Bitcoin, this is a 12.5% move, something like that. And we've got a little bit higher to get to this area right here. But as I'm telling you that, I just want to let you know that there's a real possibility that we're going to hit this one more time. And if we hit this one more time, then it could be that some of these alts drop even lower and fill out those wicks that I was mentioning before. So the plan is this. If it gets lower over here, not only will I long in this section, but I will now start to check out these alts and see if there's a good opportunity for me to get in and ride some of the stronger alts up on spot. And I will continue to figure out what I'm going to do over here. Now, because there is a Thanksgiving holiday over here and Black Friday and everything like that, I'm really not sure how these holidays are going to play out. I know that the volume usually kicks out during holiday season, but because we've taken such a big drop, there's no real pressure from the market to say that people can't move this chart up now, So again, what I'm looking for is I will be hyper focused on this spot over here, and especially this trend line. And I would love for it to come back down over here and grab some support, and then really kind of like start the game, man, start the show. So anyway, I thought I would give you that little tidbit. Sorry, I was a little bit wordy, but yeah, that's just what I was feeling. So anyway, if I don't talk to you, have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the family, friends. And if you aren't with anybody, try to enjoy yourself and surround yourself with warm, thankful thoughts. And yeah, be good, everyone. Thanks. Bye.